Melissa, have you ever had a spell that you performed? It worked, but it had consequences. Say, got you ill or made you tired for a couple of days, brought on some strange illness that faded away, something along those lines.
That's a good question. I like that question.
I do.
Welcome everyone to Splintered Spirits. You guys are jumping in quick today. We have a guest today. We got a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Robin? I know Robin. Robin always shows up. She's devoted.
I like guests.
Yeah, they're fun. I'm just gonna give the people a minute to jump in. The good people.
Good people.
Welcome to Splintered Spirits Live.
What's going on, everybody?
Week. Hello on Instagram. Any Facebookers here? I see a lot of YouTubers.
The Book of Faces. Book of Faces.
Instagram the live always runs weird. At a certain point, one of the frames will go in slow motion, and I don't know why that is. I think it's just an effect of having to run it through like 3 different things.
Could be.
But I like to be on there live, and guys, if you want a better experience, go check us out on YouTube, Splintered Spirits on YouTube.
Yep.
But if you're here, you're here. And welcome. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
They don't
stick
around.
What's going on, Gary? What's going on in the world?
It's going really well,
Spirits?
dude. It's going really well. And oh, wow, we got a big jump in folks. All right. Hey, everybody. We got a guest today in the world of the paranormal. We have another witch, an American witch, if you will. And she's a lot of fun. And
witchy sauce?
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's like, I like meeting these witches. There's something about these witches. They're really fun. And, you know, I sat with a really popular one off of TV, Patty Negri. That episode's coming up. I guess we'll talk a little business first. You know, Tuesday, we got a new episode with Monique Too Soon.
She was so fun.
And also this week, since it's February, and that is our 1 month, that's the month where we started to hit our 1-year anniversary. I'm going to drop 3 episodes in advance on YouTube. So if you're a subscriber, you will get to see early our Group Estes experiment, our Chip Coffee interview, and our Skeptic interview with James Underwood. I'm going to drop all 3 of those.
Awesome.
So those are 3 ones that only if you're a subscriber on YouTube, you'll get to see in advance. But don't worry, they will be out over the course of the month.
Yes.
That's fun. And our guest today, let's get her. I don't want to keep her waiting too long, and we want to get into it, and the people don't want to hear us talk all day about nonsense.
Let's get her in.
Let's get her in. This is Melissa St. Hilaire. She is a witch, a medium, an animal psychic. I've always wanted to meet an animal psychic. Look, she shares spells, witchcraft, tips, and magically irreverent memes with a massive online community she has. She's a professional writer. She wrote this book, which I read, 30 Real Signs from the Afterlife. I hope that's not coming up backwards for the people, you know, like how it does when you flip the camera around. But it's called 30 Real Signs from the Afterlife. Best-selling author. She helps people recognize and interpret the subtle ways the other side reaches out. So all of this, her whole book is about like how to recognize what you're seeing, right? How to recognize these signs. Through private readings, custom spells, teaching, Melissa bridges practical magic and spirit communication, making the unseen feel a little more familiar. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for Melissa St. Hilaire? I think she's got some fans in here already. People who know her, which I love.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Let's bring her in. Let's bring her in.
Yeah, let's bring her in.
It's time. It's time. Melissa, welcome to Splintered Spirits.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's great. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Well, you know, it depends on what you mean by good and bad. No,
I like
that answer.
I know, right? I sat down with Patty Negri, right? And she told me about this bad witch that she met once. Cause like Zach Baggins likes to punk her a lot or try to dunk on her by like surprising her. Like, guess what? We brought the bad witch this week, right? You know, to do that to her. And then it gets funny because then that bad witch died. So it's, you know, she's outlived her. But, you know, Patty considers herself a good witch, right? But I've never met bad witch.
Yeah.
And all these witches I meet, look, they're all like they're all super good looking. And it's like, I wonder if like there's one out there who's like, I need to find like a sea hag with like the big wart who's going to hex people. Like that's my next, I want to come in like from the dark side of things. But I don't know.
Well, I could probably hook you up people.
You know some? Do you know some dark witches? Like some real evil shit? Wow.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I personally think of myself as like a gray witch. I try to be good. I think of it, I'm sort of, if you look at like, there's chaotic good, chaotic evil, chaotic neutral. I'm like chaotic good. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
like in the grand scheme of things, I don't ever want to hurt anybody. I don't ever want to, cause it hurts me to hurt others. I can't even step on an ant. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I'm more of like a protection witch, but I can get angry and I can do little reversal spells and things like that. I personally, and I've learned about hexes because I think it's important to study everything and know what people can do. But I do know several witches who do very, very
Dark magic.
what you could call harmful. Yeah, harmful
Wow.
magic, you know what I mean? And, you know, and some of them with good reason, maybe they're fighting, for justice or what have you, you know what I mean? But, and I support them, you know what I
Now
mean?
I've been
Like, go
listen,
for
wait a
it.
second though, Melissa. I've been checking out your feed as of late. Have you not tried to put a couple little hexes on the old folks over at ICE? I've seen these sigils you're dropping.
Well,
I don't blame you. Is that I mean, are we
yeah,
starting to
well, mine aren't
embrace
really
the dark side?
I wouldn't call these dark though, because I know that because all of us witches, we all have our fortes and we'll do different things that we're good at. And I'm kind of a weird whiz at sigils. I've been doing them since like the 90s, and but I kind of come at it from more of a protection side. But the sigils that I have right now, I do have an anti-ice one. I have two anti-ice ones. One of them is just to remove them from our streets, and it's designed to be a shield and just push back. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like old warrior style. And then the other one is started as an anti-you-know-who spell.
He shall
and
not be
and
named.
then it kind of expanded into yeah, I don't wanna say his name because, but it started with just focusing on him, and then I added Project 2025, and I added ICE to that. But really, I wasn't hexing him or anything like that because I personally just don't wanna do that and others are better at it than me, honestly. But I'm super good at protection, and I'm super good at, like, truth will out spells, like getting people to reveal things that they don't really wanna reveal, things like that.
No
So,
shit.
that was my focus with that spell was to kinda get him to, um, trip on his own feet, if you will, and lose followers because of it.
So Melissa, look,
No. Did you lose
you've
me?
no,
No,
I'm
you're
here.
good. You're good.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I love it. I love it. And the fact that this is the kind of thing that you do and that you've really developed a craft for this angle of your witchcraft for sure. What was it? Tell me about the start of it for you. Like when did it start from like just feeling witchy and being into this, going through your Stevie Nicks phase into this is a real thing. This is something I want to focus on. This is, an ability.
Right. Wow. Good question. I hate using the word dabble because it can be kind of negative, but for a long time when I was a teenager, I was dabbling basically. I did do research, but I didn't have a teacher. I was a book witch basically. Honestly, wasn't until I was an adult and I sort of stumbled into a couple of witchcraft stores in California, and there were, elder witches there who were like, you have a gift, you have something. And at first I was like, oh, whatever, shut up. And, but they were like, no, you have something and, take classes, learn under us, hone your skills. And so I just dove headfirst into classes. And that was about, I don't know, 15 years ago, I want to say now.
Okay. And you are also a medium. So you communicate with spirit, correct?
Correct. Yes. And for many years, not on purpose.
Really? What is that? Like what?
Do you use any of the communication with the spirits for your craft?
All the time, to the point where I kind of started calling my craft spirit craft, in my just to myself, and because what I found was prior to merging the two, like I used to think there were two separate things. I thought witchcraft was here and mediumship is here and never the twain shall meet, And then one day I was kind of experimenting and I was like, well, what would happen if I called on this particular spirit or whatever to help with a spell? Like, would anything happen? And the spell was like 10 times more potent. I mean, it started working like that. And I was like, oh, I see. But then but there's like it's a touchy thing because you don't want to take advantage, or at least I don't. I don't want to ever like make a spirit do something against their will. That's not my thing. So the way I kind of work it is, if I'm doing a spell for myself, I talk to my own guides and I just say, can you boost this? If I'm working for a client, I'll call on their guides to help.
Interesting. I see. Now, was there an early experience for you, Melissa, where an experience with spirit or the afterlife that anchors how you work today? Can you point to any particular moment that sort of said, okay, this is how I do what I do?
Wow. I feel like that's a combination of things because it's really like multiple moments all kind of wrapped in one. So I'll do my best to explain it. Because the biggest kind of rewarding thing for me, I would say, in my practice and dealing with spirits is helping certain spirits to ascend and cross over. And I feel like that anchors everything that I do, because even though I might do, help someone with, maybe their marriage needs a little love boost spell or something, or someone needs a new job, even though I do those spells for living people, my real goal is to focus on helping spirits, because they come to me all the time. And many, many years ago, way before I would have ever dared to call myself a medium, I lived in this little 1-bedroom apartment in Koreatown, and there was a young boy spirit that kept popping up in the apartment, and
God,
very clear
those are
to
the
me.
worst kind. They're the worst
Right,
kind. I'm
very
sorry.
clear. I want to say
Those little boys and old women spirits are the scariest, without question.
super scary.
Super scary. The
He was
worst. I'm
probably
not
like, I
kidding.
want to say preteen.
Yeah, terrifying. I get it.
Yeah.
It's awful.
He had dark hair, right?
I saw The Grudge.
But he would appear all the time. And for a while, I kind of thought, like, am I losing my mind? Like, is this real, or am I like cuckoo? And then one day I turned to my husband and I was like, do you see the little boy ghost here? And he was like, you see him too? And so that was a moment where we both I realized, okay, so I'm not crazy, or we both are. And I talked to a dear friend of mine. Her name is Amy Wallace. She's no longer with us, but she was a student of Carlos Castaneda, if you've ever heard of him. And when I told her about it, she said, if they're coming to you like this, then your job is to help them pass. You have to help them ascend. And she taught me how to do it. So I did this whole little ritual, and then we never saw him again. And then one day, many years later, she passed away. And I kind of went through the same thing with her. And it was after that I realized, oh, shoot, this is my calling. Like, I have to help people with this, whether it's helping the living with the dead or helping the dead to go on.
So, Melissa, what do you think spirits are? If that is a big part of it, that you think they're here and they have to move on, what do you think spirits are, and where do you think that they are going?
That is a really good question. I wish that I could tell you like a definitive answer, but I really truly believe that none of us really know. I think
Well,
that
of
we
course
all
not.
kind
Nobody knows. Of course
an
not. Nobody
idea.
really knows. So what do you think? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like, so I have this weird theory that the center of the universe, from which the Big Bang and everything comes from, that in that very center is this sort of like super condensed, if you want to call it heaven, you want to call it the beginning and the ending of everything. To me, the center of the universe is where all spirits come from and all spirits go to. And those who have sort of accepted death and allowed themselves to ascend would sort of go to this place. But the weird thing about this place is, once you're in spirit form, at least how I see it, there's no time. If a human tried to go to the center of the universe, we would make it, But a spirit can, in a blink of an eye, faster than I can even explain any of this, travel from there to here. Now, the reason why some spirits, get trapped is, there's lots of reasons for that. But typically, I feel like there are some spirits who just, for whatever reason, they can't let go. They cannot go to that place. They're afraid of it, or they don't understand that they're dead, or whatever the case may be. And so as to what they are, what they're made of, to me, it's some sort of like, it's weird to describe, but I see it as sort of like a sentient, energetic plasm, if you will.
That's interesting. Sort of, look, that plays into a lot of what, of an idea of consciousness or energy, and a collective consciousness seems to be more of your angle into it, which is it's no
Total.
stranger than anything else. You know what I mean? It's not, who knows what it is? That's what I love asking people, especially people who communicate with spirits, what they're finding and how they interpret it. Right. So in your book, 30 Real Signs from the Afterlife, which is interesting because it's like you really try to help people understand what it is they might be seeing and how that relates. So when you sat down to write this, what was the problem or confusion you were seeing a lot of in people that you were trying to solve for them?
Great question. Really, it was that I truly believe, I know this is going to sound a little bombastic, but I truly believe that we are all mediums. I really do. And I truly believe that we are all being contacted by spirits, but that we shut it off. Maybe it's, when we're children going and learning language and integrating into society. I know when I was a kid and I went to school, I was teased relentlessly for being very weird. Like I would know things about people I shouldn't know, and I would say things that were, it just didn't make sense for a child to say. And I know I was channeling. Now I do. At the time I didn't, so I feel like I really kind of just wanted to normalize it. And I wanted to make it like easy, practical, digestible. So I went and I took like a bazillion books, all these esoteric, complicated, hard to read, books. And I just took all the information and tried to distill it down into the simplest steps. So anybody with any degree of ability could potentially, communicate with spirit, or at least interpret signs from them.
What, is there any one particular sign that you describe that people consistently overlook or misinterpret?
Oh, wow. I would say there's two, actually. I would say one would be flickering lights. I feel like a lot of times people misinterpret flickering lights. Obviously, you have to rule out any electrical problems. Like, a big, big proponent of debunk first. But once you've done that, sometimes people will be like, oh, it's just haunted. Well, maybe there's a message. Why are they flickering the light? What could that possibly mean? And why the light versus anything else that they could do? Are they shining a light on something? Are they trying to get your attention? Are they trying to get you to see something you're missing? So I feel like a lot of times people will poo-poo a sign, but they're without reading into it. And then another one would be like birds and butterflies and flying things. Yeah. And also wind. So sorry, there's three. I find that, obviously if it's a windy day, you can't, that's not going to mean anything. But on really calm days, I started doing this experiment where I would go, okay, if there are any spirits present, can you just whip up just a little bit of wind? Just make this one tree just wiggle, and it works. And it's bizarre, and then another would be birds, like I had a client that I spoke to earlier today, and I was like a little mediumship moment, and I can't go into details, but it had a bird thing to it where I was like, oh, I see birds all of a sudden.
HIPAA rules or something? Does it violate some HIPAA
it's
rules?
Just personal,
like, you don't have to say it. All right. Tell us.
Yeah.
No, give us the dirt.
Personal. There's certain
give us the tea, man. Don't say their name, but just tell people want to hear like what are they coming to see?
Like some people. Well, what it is, here's an example. Okay, this happened to my mom, and I can share this. She won't mind. So and she doesn't believe in any of this stuff at all. Like, she's like, no, there's no such thing as afterlife. You're making it all up. And I'm like, you know me. I grew up as the worst liar you've ever met. Like, I couldn't, like, I was in trouble because I would just be like, oh, I did it. So, like, she knows that I could never, fake this stuff. If I could, I'd be a freaking A-list actress. Hello. she's like, well, Melissa, do you think that this could be a sign? And she says this whole thing about how after my grandma passed, she went out into the yard and she just kind of talked to the plants and the flowers and said, well, Mom, if you're here, can you give a sign? Well, that spring, a bunch of violets blossomed. And here's the weird thing. Prior to this, my mom has never had violets in her yard. After this occasion, she never had them again. My grandmother's favorite flower, violets. And so I'm like, that's a sign. Do you know what I mean? That's like, come on, but she's like, no, it was just a weird coincidence.
All right, but wait, I cut you off on the birds thing. What is it about birds that people misinterpret? What's so weird about that?
Right, yes. So the thing about birds, I think a lot of people just assume that, if like suddenly a flock of birds shows up and you're thinking about someone who's passed away, maybe their anniversary is coming up or the anniversary of their death. And, that's a sign, like I think a lot of people just ignore things that seem just super like normal daily occurrence. But if you've never had a flock of birds in your yard and all of a sudden you do, and it's tied to someone you're thinking about who's passed, or it's tied to a special day or something like that. Or maybe you're, going through something and you feel you're, calling out for help or praying. To me, when those flock of birds or whatever it is shows up, that's a sign. They're saying it's the spirit sending, it's called psychopumps in Greek, ancient Greek. And basically it means messenger of the dead. It's beings that the spirits sort of send to the living world to send their support or guidance, what have you.
Melissa, how do you then sort out, and then, well, look, you're an expert in it. So then how would a layman sort out what a sign is versus, the brain, pattern making? You know what I mean? How do you distinguish it?
Right. No, that's a great question. And it actually addresses a negative review I got in my book. Someone went in and reviewed my book on Audible and was like, oh, I was totally into this book until I get to this one point. And she's like, everything can be a sign. And I was like, well, you're missing the discernment. Yes. It's not that everything can or is a sign. It's that anything can be a sign. It's the situation and the circumstances around it that determine whether or not it is a sign. For example, if you get a bunch of hummingbirds in your backyard all the time and they just show up, well, then it's probably not a sign. But if you never get them and you say, oh, grandma, please, please, please give me a sign. And then 2 seconds later, you step outside. And then 2 seconds later, a hummingbird swirls around your head and zooms off. Sign. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, yeah, one feels it right. One is, you have to look, it's not just a coincidence if you're feeling this way and it happens when you're feeling it versus, and it's unique to where you are somehow. Okay. I could buy it for sure. I mean, that's wild.
Exactly.
Another thing that you talk about a lot in your book, which I loved, is animal communication. And how does that differ from human mediumship? Are animals talking to you like they're people now? Like, are you literally hearing a dog talk as a person, or are you still hearing, like, do you know what I'm saying? Or is it like an ET situation where you feel what they feel, not hear their thoughts? You know what I mean? Elliot could feel what ET was feeling. He didn't know what ET was thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I want to say it's a combination. It's kind of all of the above. My funny story about animal communication is when I was a kid, our neighbors, I grew up in Upton, Mass, very rural, cornfields and woods. And my neighbor had a German Shepherd. And I told my whole family, everybody, that the German Shepherd's name was Skippy. And so my whole family called it Skippy or Skipper, And then one day they heard the neighbors call the dog and the neighbors are yelling, Timber, Timber. So my mom comes up to me and she goes, Melissa, Missy, that's what they call me. She goes, Missy, why on earth did you tell me that the dog's name is Skipper when the people named it Timber? Like what, And I go, well, that's what the dog told me his name was.
All right, now, okay. All right. No, but Melissa, for real, like how did the dog tell you its name? Like in English, was it like a Zootopia thing? Like I'm just listen, I love my dogs. If you're telling me I can talk to my dogs at like after they pass, it would mean a lot. But like, is it a real conversation or how do you know, what are you feeling or sensing when you say the dog told you?
It's a combination of things. I get pictures in my mind, and I get so clairvoyance basically. I will also get claircognizance, which is where you just know things and you cannot explain why. You don't hear it, you don't see it, you just know it. You're not even feeling it, you just know it. I also get clairsentient, so I also feel things in my body. But I also have clairaudience, so I will also directly hear words. More often than not with animals, it's pictures and feelings. Sometimes, lots of times with cats, it's claircognizance. I don't know how they do it. Cats can just beam stuff into my head and I just know it.
That's because cats are awesome.
All you witches, all
Yeah,
you
then they're
witches and
aliens.
cats, all you witches and your cats. That's the whole thing.
It's true. Dogs,
That's a different vibe.
I feel dogs. Yeah. And
That's
then
because they care more.
with certain animals, I do get.
100%.
Yep. True.
I have a couple more. I have a bunch of questions for you on this stuff because
Gary's like, I just want to talk to my dogs.
No, I just want to talk to my dogs. Are you kidding me?
That's it.
I would love to talk to my dogs. I had my last dog. Man,
It's
lasted
awesome.
17 years. My last dog lasted 17 years.
That's
It's
actually
crazy.
He
was a miniature pincher, dude. He lives a lot. You know, little dogs live a little bit longer than most, but it was
that
like
was I think I remember. Is that the one my mother painted the picture of on the table?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I have the
Maximus. Yeah, man, I would love to talk to Max. It's great.
as he's like, "What's up, fucker?"
Yeah. Hey, you tell me like my name's not Max.
Yeah.
You gave me that stupid ass name.
Yeah, my name's Steven, Gary.
Yeah, Steven. It's like Baron von this the third.
Oh, totally.
You know,
Cats have
Melissa,
wackadoodle real names.
like what are they Egyptian? I feel like cats. Something about cats reminds me of like they're all Egyptian or some shit.
I get, like I have a tendency to name the names that they tell me. So my cats end up with weird names. I had one cat that showed up and he was like, "I'm Jupiter," and I was like, "Okay, you are Jupiter."
Oh, I see. So you're not all the pets you have. You never name them. They've told you their names.
They've named themselves.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
most
so
of them.
great.
There's a couple that I did name because I couldn't get anything from them. There's one who we call Lulu Momo, who she chose her name. The Lulu Momo part is a nickname that I gave her because the name she chose for herself was Lucifer Morningstar, and I was like, we're gonna change that a little bit. Thanks.
That's a great name for a band. Lucifer Morningstar. Right. That's a great name for a band. All right, I want to get serious with you for a second.
She's the devil.
Is she Black Cat?
She's a tortie, and if you know anything about torties, they have tortoiseshell cats. Tortitude.
Wow. All right. I want to get serious for this second because you're also a teacher, Melissa. You teach this stuff. So, you share spells, witch tips. How do you balance, a serious side of magic as a teacher, but still try to have a sense of humor when you're making memes and videos and stuff like that? How do you create a sort of sense of credibility and sincerity in that for people who are doing it? I find that to be very difficult.
It's very difficult. A lot of my scrutiny comes down to the fact I'm always joking around and having a good time. And then people are like, "Oh, this isn't real. Look at the way he's acting." And it's like, wait a second.
We get it constantly even on this podcast because I'm trying to educate myself and ask questions and have fun doing it, and people are like, "You're not serious," but that I don't think these two are necessarily the same. How do you do that? How do you do it?
Well, it's kind of simple, actually. I don't take myself seriously, but I take the work seriously. And that's really how I differentiate, I'm a goofy, silly person. I really am. I'm a dad joke extraordinaire. I love puns. I love memes. Like I could just sit and make memes all day if I had the time, So like, I know I'm a goofy person. And so I kind of I just allow myself to just be myself, and I think a lot of that is like, growing up in a household with like, dad with a temper problem and a grandpa with a temper I had to make my mom laugh. I had to make my grandma laugh. So it's like I just, I learned very early that if you could make people laugh, you could cheer them up and you could disarm them, And but when it comes to the work, to mediumship and to witchcraft, that I take extremely seriously. And I try very hard to only share good information that I've vetted. I try to share only sigils of spells that I've actually done myself and checked. You know what I mean? Like, so even before I shared my anti-ice shield sigil that went viral, I had worked on that a long time previously and been slowly using it and incorporating it and what have you. And I didn't post it publicly until I was called to, you know?
Melissa, how do you test a sigil? Like, how does it like, first I'm going to work on this. Like, here's a couple of dicks I know, I got to push them away. So I'll test it on these guys. And then if it works on them, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you test a magic spell to make it so big, to make it bigger, to know that it's going to work?
Well, it depends on the purpose. So most sigils originally were intended to work on the self, so it was meant to like, maybe you wanted to break a bad habit or whatever. So you created it to work on your own subconscious, and then it would over time kind of rewire your brain. But when you are doing something like this, where I call it sigil craft for activism, and you're trying to literally create a symbol that is meant to go viral. It's meant to go into people's subconscious and create change on a fundamental level. But the only way for it to work is if it goes viral, because it has to reach a lot of minds. So how I start that is I send it to friends first. I send it to my fellow witches. I have this one friend. I don't know if she would want me to say her name, but she's I'll say her handle. Her handle is Blacker Magic, and she's a very cool witch. And I'll send her sigils way before I send to anybody else, just to get her vibe. I'll be like, what, like, does this feel good to you? What do you get on this? And she'll use them and report back. And I have a few other people like that. So, and then I'll kind of branch out. Like I have a private group, I forget what it's called, but on Instagram, like people can sign up for just certain like announcements or whatever. I rarely use it, but I will periodically throw a sigil in there and just be like, oh, like, let's see if this does anything with just these 500 people, And so I kind of work my way up. And then once I get to a place. Exactly. Right. Totally. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. You nailed it.
All right. So some just quick questions in the chat. People are saying, what's a sigil? A sigil is a symbol in another, it's basically like a symbol with some, in your case, you're putting witchcraft behind it.
Listen, you don't have to answer with your words, okay? You don't have to answer with your words. Do you sneak sigils in your memes?
I do.
Out to the public? You do? Okay. I figured you did.
No shit.
I figured you did. I figured you did. That's actually, but they're probably positive ones, right? They're probably all like just to, better help your community and.
Yeah, it's all positive.
Look at you.
All right.
It's all positive.
Abundance.
Thank you for answering.
Right. Now,
your secret's safe here on Splintered Spirits.
Yeah, no, we're not going to tell anybody. Now we're all going to be, no, it's smart. And that's smart, she said, because now we're going to look at every one of her memes that comes out and try to find the hidden sigil in it.
Yeah, right.
Keep time on it.
Yep.
Keep that, attention. Do you deal with a lot of people who are grieving, Melissa? I feel like for mediumship and witchcraft, a lot of people come in that respect, and a lot of people we've interviewed, a lot of people I've interviewed, it's usually the starting place for a lot of it is grief counseling and everything else. What is your approach to that when it comes to what your work with symbols and sigils, and how does that play into your work?
I hold space. I've lost a lot of people that I loved more than anybody else on the planet. And so I know how it feels, and I also know that we all grieve differently and we all need space to grieve. And I feel like our society doesn't really give us enough space to grieve. And, I feel like that is one of the that's one of the part of the struggle for people, right? Is they need more time and more space and more support. So I just try to hold that space as best I can. I really listen. I read people really well, so I learn very quickly how to hold space for them and what I need to do for them. Some people just need to talk and other people just need to listen, and many a mix of both. So I just do what I can.
Sure. Do you ever go on ghost hunts or things like that? Do you investigate places with teams, or you ever go into that space?
I do. That's actually my favorite thing to do. I was obsessed with it when I was a kid, and I would watch the original Ghost Hunters show with as Grant and Jason, right? I loved them so much. I just thought they were the coolest. And I wanted to be them so bad. And then when the pandemic hit, I got this amazing opportunity from Susan Slaughter. I don't know if you know her, but she's amazing. And she invited me to go on Dark Zone and do like a live streaming ghost hunt at the Los Angeles Police Museum. And
Oh,
it was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. And I'd go on as many ghost hunts as people will invite me to.
really? What do you discover? What is it? What do you get out of it? When you're out there, especially, are they all looking to be crossed over? I mean, you said, because earlier you said, spirits come to you, but now when you're on a ghost hunt, you're going into their space, right? They're not coming to you for your help.
Yes.
You're sort of forcing yourself into them. So do they want to be crossed over? What do you feel different, if anything?
I mean, it really depends on the space. It's vastly different. There was a hotel called Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California. And I've done several hunts there. I actually kind of like to call them investigations because ghost hunt sounds kind of like, but but I've done several investigations there, and we actually kind of got into like a rapport with some of the spirits there. And we had this amazing experience where where spirits basically came to us and asked for help. And I felt that. And then I shared it with the team, and they kind of use me as a barometer, and then they get out the gadgets. So I say what I feel, and then they kind of validate with, EVP or whatever they're using. And we were able to get, voices asking for help. And we had quite a few mediums that day. So we created sort of a prayer circle, if you will, and we just opened up a space to sort of help usher them through. And weirdly enough, as we were, sort of nudging them towards ascendance, if you will, there was a whoosh sound in the
That's
EVP.
weird.
And then it went quiet after that.
Well, that's fun. That's like fun when you catch that.
Yeah. It was weird. It was really
Some
weird.
people in the chat some people in the chat are asking, they want to know, how do you know where they are crossing over to? Is this part of what you believe they're crossing over into that center of the universe zone? For sure, but right? Or is there another possibility that we don't?
Yeah.
Right? That's Cass, I hope
Honestly,
that answers
I've
your
only
question.
ever seen one. Yeah, I've only
Okay.
ever seen like one place that people kind of go to. But there are degrees of that place, if you will, tiers, hierarchy. So, some people pass and they were horrible, rotten, despicable people. And so they're like low in there, you know what I mean? They're like they're in the trenches. They've got to, their spirit needs training, and a lot of times
Okay.
I've from what they've told me, lots of times those souls have to come back and reincarnate till they kind of get it right. Um, and that and then there's sort of like a hierarchy of like, if they've gotten it right, then they can become, spirit guides or ancestors or whatever you want to call it. And then according to my grandmother, who's on the other side, that one of them, the other one's still here, 102, but still here.
Wow.
But the one on the other side, she told me there's even a place that the dead then go to. Like when you're in the spirit realm, some of them do come back, but some of them, once they've gotten through their training on the other side, that they even have a place that they then go to. But they don't know what that is. So it's like they have their own version of a death that we have. So, I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't really even totally understand it.
So that's something you picked up. That's like that's just from some communication from the how do I say this? From the communication you've received, you are starting to believe that there is even another level for within this other
Yes.
side where spirits are. That's a really interesting outlook on
Totally.
what's going on and what you're hearing. What do you
Yeah.
use any
Yeah.
tools in your divination sort of work? Like, do you have any go-to, what do you use anything to help you
Yeah.
communicate? What are your go-to tools?
I do. Well, when I was younger, it was tarot. That was my gateway tool. And now I love dowsing rods. I don't know what it is. There's something, they're so simple and pure. So I feel like if I get stuck, or I feel like if I'm, having trouble getting an answer for somebody, I will grab the rods, and it removes my ego, my consciousness, because it's the human that's infallible, or that's fallible. I mean, it's the human that's fallible, right? So, like, when I use the rods, it kind of bypasses the fallible human brain and just gives the answer.
Right. Right. No, it's those dowsing rods are interesting because I held them once, and you would have thought I had like Parkinson's or something. I couldn't hold them steady. You know what I mean? Like but I wasn't. I was trying to hold them steady, and they just kept doing it. So it's like then I watched somebody like hold them, and I'm like, how do you hold them? Like so
Yeah.
steady, without and then to be able to then say to me, not only can I hold these steady, I can make them move on command. I find like a really hard to believe that you can move these on command because they're so sensitive to movement. Like you would have to like the mic. I just don't really. It's weird to be so precise. To be surgical with those things would take a whole other level of skill. To me, weird. I don't know. It seems odd. But yeah, a lot of people. Well, that's why they're called witch sticks, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what the witches dig them. What's coming up next for you, Melissa? And where can people find you?
Um, People can find me on AmericanWitch13.com. That's my website. It's a little behind right now. I need to update it. And they can also find me. I'm very active on Instagram and Threads, and that's also American Witch 13. I'm also on Facebook and miscellaneous others, but I'm on TikTok and whatnot, but I'm not as active on those. I'm really like deep diving into politics right now. So I kind of like tell people, like, if you don't like
It's hard not to.
politics, follow me on Facebook or somewhere else. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's hard not to right now. It's a little bit hot. The world's a little bit hot right now, so it's hard not to do that. But is it? And well, sorry. So American Witch 13. Can people go on there and get readings from you via online? You do that?
I don't do online readings because I like to
Okay.
talk to people. I like to be personable. So I do Zoom, I do phone readings. I can do in person. That's very rare though. But they can book me through the Green Man store in Burbank, California. And then
Got it.
also there's forums on my website too if they want to. Yeah.
Got it. I look at Zoom as online. I don't know what other version of online. Like that means, like they don't have to go in the room with
Right.
you. They can do it via the thing. Right. Uh,
Yeah.
well, that's great. I mean, look, I don't have, I like your energy so much. You're very fun. You keep everything upbeat, and it's how necessary is that to have right now because of how you maintain that considering what you're trying to fight against versus what you're trying to help people is interesting to me. How you keep I like how you do that. I like how you create your own sort of, sigils and spells. What's a good go-to spell for people? What's your like most requested spell?
Oh, honestly, I would say, gosh, what is money spells are pretty, a lot of people right now are struggling.
Probably money and romance, right?
Yeah,
Probably
totally.
get money and romance like crazy.
Right.
Exactly.
Money, I
Yeah.
should
That's,
right. I guess
people are
that's
struggling now.
what's your favorite spell?
Oh, my favorite spell, oh gosh, it's gonna sound a little silly, but it's a glamour spell. But it's not what people think. If you watch The Craft, they do the Hollywood glamour, and it's, "Oh, I changed my hair color." But which is cool. I mean, I love don't get me wrong, The Craft is one of my favorite movies ever.
Sure.
But really but really, the way that I think of a glamour spell is more about working on the inner to give yourself confidence, to build yourself up so that when you go out into the world and accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish, you can hold your head high and you can win people over with this inner confidence that glows out. And I love doing that spell for people.
What is it? Can you tell us what do they have to do, or what can they do at home? Or?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. If I do it through the Green Man store, we do either candle spells or charm bags. The candle spell is more bombastic. It's fire, so it's immediate. You know what I mean? And a charm bag is more like you put all the little doodads into a little bag and you just carry it in your pocket. And it depends on what they want it for, but I typically, for things like glamour, I recommend charm bag because you're carrying it with you. It's like you always have it working on you. And if you want me to share my secret ingredient, I will.
What is it? What's the secret ingredient?
Yeah, so the secret ingredient is so at the Green Man store, they have this blend, this incense blend. It's not even really like meant for spells. It's just an incense blend. But it's called Bell Book and Candle, and it was created because some friends of mine had this amazing burlesque show, and it's the same name. And that's Pleasant Gaiman and Shauna Leilani. But anyway, so their blend, it has this sort of like musky, sexy, kind of strong, earthy scent, and then it also has glitter in it. And I just find it just I don't even know what's in there, to be honest. It's a store secret. But man, it's potent, and it just makes you feel powerful.
No shit. See, that's cool.
Melissa, have you ever had a spell that you performed? It worked, but it had consequences. Say, got you ill or made you tired for a couple of days, brought on some strange illness that faded away, something along those lines.
That's a good question. I like that question.
I do. I'm like, wow, I've never shared this with anybody before. And it's it's actually kind of dark. Yeah.
Let's hear it, Melissa.
We're all ears.
Okay. I apologize if it gets dark. So many years ago, I desperately wanted to be famous. Like, I moved to LA to work in film and the whole, I got over that. But that's what I wanted. And so I did this massive spell to make myself famous. And I can already feel so many witches roll their eyes at me. But the thing is we all make mistakes, and it's a learning process, right? And this was like 30 years ago. So I've evolved. But that spell literally made me go crazy. And when I'm not exaggerating, I was put on medication that altered my brain chemistry and made me go psychotic. Literally, I had to be like institutionalized. It was I'm no joke. It was a whole thing. And when I came out from that, from the other side, they were basically like, yeah, like you were misdiagnosed. You're not crazy. You should have never been put on anything. You're just a medium. Like, there's other ways to deal with this. You don't need, you know what I mean? And they were like, so you never should have been put on any of that stuff in the first place, because that was what caused the medication. It was antidepressant, and that's what caused the problem. And then shortly after that, like once I kind of worked through all the, it was and then, therapy and, nutrition, exercise, meditation, yoga to fix myself. Then I got published, like things started happening. Do you know what I mean? Like the
law of equivalent exchange, you had to pay the piper.
Yep, exactly. The coin was hard on that one. Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. No
That's what I always found interesting about
no famous spells.
Spellcraft, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. You can put many labels on so many things. When it works, it extracts a total.
Yep.
And some people just aren't ready to deal with those consequences. It's almost like a be careful what you wish for sort of scenario, but you're still wishing for it. So, Melissa, you wouldn't change any of that. If you were able to go back in time, you would literally do the same thing all over again.
Yep.
Right? And that's why it worked in 10, but it took a toll. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have to say, it also like opened my mind to mediumship, because prior to that, I was very much like, I tried to be in the real world. You know what I mean? Even though I had all these experiences, I would oftentimes doubt myself or second guess myself. And I literally had to lose my mind to find myself. And when I came through the other side, there was a brief period of time where I actually was like atheist when I came out of there. I was like, nothing, none of it's real. It's all crap. And then shortly after that, my friend Amy passed away, and she came to me almost immediately after she died, whispered in my ear, clear as day, like you couldn't deny it. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. I got the stamp of, seal of approval, the sanity stamp, right, on my forehead. So now when I'm experiencing a spirit, I can say, this is like real. Whoa,
Well, thank you
Man.
so much for sharing. Appreciate that.
No,
I know
it's
sometimes the harder stories are, a bit much to say and, bring back into the forefront of the memory. So thank you.
yeah, that's great. Listen, Melissa, thank you so much for
Yeah, really, thank you.
jumping on live with us today. It's a pleasure to meet you and hear your story. I loved your book because I love it's a book, guys. Again, 30 real signs from the afterlife. And what's great about it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, what the hell is that? What's that? What does that mean? It's very clear cut in that sense, and it's a good to get one person Melissa's perspective on this could be what this is if you are here in this stage of your life and this is what you're experiencing. You should definitely check it out. I will have links to all of these things in the link tree in my bio and links to Melissa, the American Witch. Melissa, look, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time. That
Oh,
was
thank
wonderful.
you. I love what you both do. And you're
Yeah.
amazing, and you're so friendly and welcoming, and just thank you so much. This is so fun.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye now. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
definitely.
I find witches are super interesting to me.
Love witches.
They
I
gotta love
always love the
witches.
witchy sauce. They're always listen. Yes, I've come across some witches where you're like, all right, ugh. But for the most part, the majority of them are just very, very fun, bubbly, and interesting people.
I gotta
They
find a
really
dark
are.
witch. I do have to get a dark witch up on here though. We got to talk to a dark
Well,
witch.
you know what's crazy? Like a true dark witch, they're insane. They're insane. Like I came across one, and I didn't even get to see her face to face. She was just, you would think she was schizophrenic. You would think that like they literally fall into that role, and give her another 10, 20 years. She'll have the warts and the dirty look and the, you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah. That's what I
literally
want. I
fall
want a
into
sea
that.
hag. I
Yeah,
want to
but
get a
you'll
sea
never
hag
find
on
one
here.
that'll come on because they won't have the mental capacity to do it.
I don't
They're in the
know.
woods right now. They haven't showered in 100 days.
They're
You
like
know,
they live in like a candy house. They're
probably in a brush with the coyotes.
they're trying to lure in. They're like ginger. They live in a gingerbread house. They're trying to lure in Hansel and Gretel. We're very
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
we could bring on. I would listen. I want to hear. I want to hear about dark magic. That's
Oh,
what I want.
I'd love to get a dark, I'd love to get a dark magic witch on, one that dabbles in a lot of dark magic, and a sex witch. I want to get a sex magic witch. Ones that use sexual energy and the works and all that.
Yeah, sex
So
witch. That sounds
that
cool.
would be wild to
That's
hear.
is that a whole separate witch?
That's a
thing?
whole. Oh yeah. Well, some witches practice in all that, right? They dabble into everything, but some just specify to that one thing. So
Right, a general practitioner is a doctor versus
yeah,
right,
yeah. But witchcraft,
right. But for witchcraft. All right, chat. What do you guys got? You got any questions for us today for our live? Anybody want to jump in? Again, that was Melissa St. Hilaire at American Witch 13. You can find her anywhere online. We will have links up in the link tree in the bio here. We hope that you are, if you haven't already, smash that like and subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you're checking us out. If you're watching on Stand Up Paranormal, hop over to Splintered Spirits and make sure you like us there as well. What else? Hey, Melissa, everyone likes her. Anyone else? Yeah, what's not to like? I mean,
yeah.
what's
What's not to like? She was,
how could you not like her?
you could completely disagree with everything that woman just said, right?
Right.
You could like, be like, nah, that's not a sign. No, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Even her political views with ICE. She's
Yeah.
still an awesome person.
Yeah.
She was so friendly and so, definitely check her out. Even if you guys disagreed with some of the things she was saying, check her out. Who knows
John?
what she might be getting into that you might like.
John, we have someone here who needs you to say. I'm not going to say it because she wants you to say it.
Okay.
But she wants you to say it because she's new here.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on screen. Can you see this?
Let me see. Is it up?
Yeah. Can you see it or no?
Let me log back into because it's not showing up on the. Give me 1 second. No, hold on. Give me 1 second.
I got to put it back up.
Put it back up.
Are you ready?
Yep. Well, it should pop up twice now. So I got. Hold on. We got the little delay.
Jesus. We got to get you a better system.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna have the computer soon, so that's gonna be all set up.
I've been hearing that shit for 3 months. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I want John to say it. Hi, Landon. Is that how you pronounce that? Landon.
I think it's London.
London.
Yeah.
Hi, London. Welcome. Thank you for checking out my podcast, Splintered Spirits.
We had to work for that one.
This is my co-host Gary, and we get into all things, well, spirits, paranormal, witchy, you name it.
Hey, London. Sorry that took so long, but thank you. I hope you're still there.
Is that really London? Is that how you say that, London?
I think it's London. I think that's London. I think it's London. It's just spelled with a Y.
But I would never be able to register that, and I'd keep calling her Layden every time. What's up, Layden?
That's funny, man. What else? Anybody else got anything new? Again, what can I tell you, good people? Just remember Tuesday, brand new episode with Monique Too Soon.
Yep.
The drag queen paranormal investigator. She just wrote a book too, and she's a lot of fun. That's a whole different vibe, dude. The things, the energy.
Yeah.
The energy that, and this is where, you start talking about just changing the atmosphere, right? Of walking in
is
and
the person to do it.
And that reacts. It creates a new energy for everyone in the room with her and the spirits, which is pretty, how can you deny it? You just can't deny it.
I tell you this, guys, the guests that we have coming up, if I had to put a super team together, she would be on that team.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way, right? I mean, right? She would be on that team. 100%. So
we have so many. We've been really getting booked. We have been booking episodes.
We're booked up till April, May, something like that.
I think we're booked up till April, May on our Tuesdays. Our lives are getting booked as well. We've got some great guests coming up on the lives.
Some big names, some great guests. We got a lot.
And again, we are going to drop this week when February hits 3 new episodes for subscribers on YouTube. We've got Chip Coffee, Patty Negri. We've got our Group Estes experiment. I know some of you were there. When you say
subscribers, you mean the
those are paid. If you want to see, if you want to say, if you want to
subscribers, not regular subscribers,
not regular. If you want to see episodes in advance, those are for paid subscribers, and we are going to put those up. But otherwise, it's free to click subscribe, guys. Give it a like and share. It's all free.
You should do that right now. Make sure you're following Splintered Spirits.
You should do that right now. What does this person say? John, I was just talking to my husband about my favorite video of yours. Spirits were super rude and called you fat, then laughed about it. Rude. That's right, Jenna. They are. I've heard them do it firsthand. It's unbelievable how rude they are.
They can get so rude. Some are doing it because they're actually assholes. Some are doing it because they're just being funny. Some are doing it because I'm actually fat. I mean,
listen, guys, three things can be true at the same time.
True.
More than one thing can be true at the same time.
Well, Gary, this was fun.
This was great.
Melissa was awesome.
Another great live. Guys, again, like, share, subscribe to Splintered Spirits. Sign up for our mailing list. Follow us everywhere on social and wherever you get your podcasts. This has been fun. I want to thank Melissa St. Hilaire for joining us today. She was a real joy. We're keeping the spirits up. It's been a long day of interviews for us, and having her come on to keep the energy up was very much needed.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been going hard all day.
Pop it off.
My night's just beginning.
Oh, good luck with that, guys. All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all. See you guys. Well, that's it for another episode of Splintered Spirits. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay curious.